big headline grabber on Huawei's new P30 Pro flagship phone is of course that quad lens camera tech, complete with its 10 times lossless zoom and countless other fantastic camera upgrades. But how does it compare with two of the best smartphone snappers of 2019, Google's Pixel 3 XL and Samsung's Galaxy S10 Plus? Well, I've been testing these handsets for a few days now, and here is my full in-depth photo and video quality camera comparison. And don't forget, for more on the latest and greatest mobile tech, to subscribe and ding that notifications bell. Cheers! Now first up, let's take a quick look at that camera hardware on offer. There are a lot of lenses here, so let's take a deep breath, and here we go. So Huawei's beastly new P30 Pro sports a 40 megapixel super spectrum lens with a wide f1.6 aperture and built-in optical image stabilization. And you also get two additional lenses which you can switch between at any time, a 20 megapixel ultra wide angle lens and a funky new 8 megapixel telephoto lens featuring Huawei's new periscope design. This serves up a ludicrous 5 times optical zoom and 10 times hybrid lossless zoom, so you can take sneaky pics of next door's cats or whatever. And that's not all, because you also get a time of flight lens to accurately measure distance, something that will be big for AR functionality. Samsung serves up a similar camera experience on the Galaxy S10 Plus. Here you have a 12 megapixel primary lens with OIS and a dual aperture mechanism, which can switch between f1.5 and f2.4 based on the conditions. Once again, there's an ultra wide angle effort plus a telephoto lens as well, although you only get a 2 times optical zoom with Xiaomi's flagship. And finally, there's the Google Pixel 3 XL, which defies all conventions by only having a single rear lens. Crazy buggers. It's a 12.2 megapixel snapper with OIS and an f1.8 aperture as well. Nice and simple. Now for your everyday shots, the Galaxy S10 Plus and Huawei's P30 Pro both have an AI scene detection feature which tweaks the camera settings to suit a number of recognized subjects. This has the most dramatic impact on the P30 Pro, although thankfully the results are still palatable. At least we found them very fetching, others may not approve. You can knock this feature off on both blowers though if you prefer more natural looking results. And while the Pixel 3 XL doesn't have any kind of AI mode that you can toggle on or off, it does seem to boost colours and make things pretty all of its own accord. Naturally vibrant scenes do not pose a problem for any of these camera phones. Vivid hues look very attractive indeed with or without those AI smarts. And personally, I preferred the look of the macro shots taken on Huawei's phone, which are pleasantly crisp and detailed with a nice natural bokeh effect, although the S10 Plus isn't exactly far behind. All three phones deliver the goods when it comes to HDR shots, although we did find that the Pixel 3 XL offers slightly more detail in those darker areas when shooting against a bright sky. Both the P30 Pro and the S10 Plus can slightly whitewash a shot when the sun isn't quite on your side. Sometimes one will perform much better than the other, and then the roles will be reversed in the very next photo that you take. Overall, those pixel snaps are definitely more consistent when it comes to the texture and tone in high contrast scenes. If you want that level of consistency with the other two smartphones, then you'll definitely want to swap to the full Pro manual controls. That said, the Pixel did occasionally stumble a bit when shooting in artificial light. Some of our indoor snaps definitely look a little bit soft in comparison with those taken on the P30 Pro and the S10 Plus. In low light situations, the Huawei P30 Pro and the Pixel 3 XL can capture bright and sharp looking photos on full auto mode, while the Galaxy S10 Plus offers stronger color capture. The P30 Pro and Pixel both offer a proper night mode too, which improves the clarity and serves up a pleasingly balanced shot. Huawei's version on the P30 Pro is definitely still our favourite, almost never failing to dish up the goods. Meanwhile, the S10 Plus simply allows you to swap between those two primary apertures, and to be honest, we don't like the result with that f1.5 aperture setting at night time. You often end up with a blown out photo, which is especially noticeable on those lighter elements. Now, although you might expect the Pixel to stumble on the portrait shots versus its multi-lens rivals, Google software smarts have swooped in to save the day. The standard bokeh effect is stronger on the P30 Pro and the Pixel 3 XL compared with the Galaxy S10 Plus, although Samsung definitely offers more dramatic results with its various special effects, warping the background to really make your subjects stand out, or simply appear like they're about to be consumed by a tornado. And we particularly like this funky mix of colour and monochrome. Very nice, Samsung. Of course, when it comes to capturing a close-up shot of a distant subject, there can be only one winner. And yes, no bloody surprise here, it's the P30 Pro. That 5 times optical zoom keeps everything crisp, great news for tourists and any nature enthusiasts. And even at that 10 times level, the results are still sharp. But you will definitely need a steady hand because the image unsurprisingly shifts all over the place with just the tiniest motion. In comparison, the Galaxy S10 Plus's 2 times optical zoom is a distant second, while the Pixel simply cannot compete with its lack of telephoto lens. Likewise, only the S10 Plus and the P30 Pro serve up an ultra-wide angle effort for quite dramatic shots, especially good when capturing a funky landscape. Now when it comes to the video chop, Samsung's Galaxy S10 Plus is the superior option here. You can shoot 4K resolution video at up to 60 frames per second, and you've also got option for HDR and HDR10 Plus footage as well. In comparison, the Pixel 3 XL and the Huawei P30 Pro top off at 4K resolution at 30 FPS, and there's no HDR option. The good news though is that all three phones produce slick looking Ultra HD footage. When viewed back on a telly, those detail levels are lush while audio is cleanly picked up. The biggest difference is definitely with the P30 Pro, which in certain lighting conditions captures very warm colours compared with the other two. It's certainly not a natural appearance, although some people may find those punchy tones more visually appealing. As for image stabilisation, all three do a bang up job at that 4K level, cutting down the tremors when you're moving about and recording simultaneously. However, the S10 Plus does have a killer bonus feature with its Super Steady tool. This can only be used at full HD res with HDR deactivated, but it produces some stunningly smooth results when you're moving at pace, something that the others here can't manage. As for video shot at night, it's all much of a muchness. I slightly prefer the P30 Pro effort, again because it's got that warmer finish, but to be honest, the light balance, everything else pretty much the same on all three of these handsets. As for those selfie snappers, the P30 Pro is the only single lens shooter here, but it still does a pleasingly good job with those portrait shots, offering smart edge selection and effective bokeh style blurring. The Galaxy S10 Plus can once again go batshit crazy with its swirly effects stuff, and the Pixel 3 XL's superhero power is definitely its wide angle secondary lens, which can capture a lot more background. And at night time, of course, all three once again perform to expectations. So right there is my full camera comparison between the Huawei P30 Pro, the Google Pixel 3 XL and Samsung's Galaxy S10 Plus, which is your own personal favourite. As you can see, each one has its own individual strengths and weaknesses, so it'd definitely be great to hear your thoughts down below. Don't forget to check out my other comparisons with the P30 Pro. I've compared it to the Mate 20 Pro, the P30 and a bunch of other smartphones as well. And don't forget to poke subscribe and ding that notifications bell for more on the latest and greatest mobile tech, and have yourselves a lovely day, people. Cheers, love you.